Welcome back to my channel. Hi, I'm Jack. This is part 3 and the final video on restoring my concrete pool deck. Here we're going to put on the finishing paint of the Behr Porch and Patio anti-slip patio paint. These products are available at Home Depot, and I've been using Behr paint for many years, and it's always the brand that I go to regardless if it's indoors or outdoors. So as a recap, I'm going to review all of the products that's been used up to this point, and I'll give you some links up here back to video number 1 and video number 2 so you can pick up on that. And don't forget, at the end of this video is going to be tips and lessons learned on this entire project. So you want to stick around and make sure you see that. So let's take a look at the products that we're using. The products I'll be using is this Behr Porch and Patio anti-slip porch paint, some of the Behr concrete bonding primer, the Rust-Oleum clean and etch for the concrete, and liquid concrete crack filler by DAP. When you purchase the paint, they will mix it for you, whatever color you choose, and they will put a label on the top of the can right here that identifies the exact ratio of colors that went into this. This is the silver gray. It's what we'll be putting down. They put this in the mixer when I purchased it, but it is still very thick. So I'm going to take a couple of minutes and get this stirred up. Yes, I was a little surprised at how thick this paint really was, and I spent several minutes stirring it, and it's still kind of thick, but let's see how it goes down. Now I'm hoping to just put one coat of paint on, but with this paint being as thick as it is, it's not filling in all of the little abnormalities without some effort on my part. I think I'll be pleased with the color. I didn't want to get anything real dark, but I did want something that you could see that would contrast with a natural concrete color. Although one color they do offer is, the name of it is wet concrete. I'm going to finish cutting down a couple of sections, and then we'll come back and see how the roller goes. We start the rolling now. This paint should have a coverage of something like 300 square feet. But as I found out with the primer, it didn't hold up to the package statement. So I'm not expecting to get that much coverage out of 1 gallon of this paint, because it is thick, extremely thick. And if you have porous concrete like I do, and you probably do, it takes quite a bit of paint to fill in all the porous voids, and you actually have to just work it right down into those voids. But that's what we want. We want this concrete sealed completely to block out the moisture, and I believe that's how we're going to control the mildew. Okay, I rolled out the first gallon of the paint, and you see that it only covered right there to the steps. And the paint was really thick, as I'd mentioned earlier, and it's really hard getting that down into those voids, so I may have to come back and do a second coat on some of this. When I went to put more paint into my roller pan, I was about halfway through the gallon, and I really got surprised when I looked down in that paint can and what I saw. I'm going to give you some tips at the end of this video to save you some heartburn and probably some money, so stick around and catch those tips. If you remember how the old deck looked, dark, dingy, has the mildew on it, required a lot of maintenance just to keep it from turning completely black. Well, now I've transformed that deck into something that looks just simply beautiful. It looks so clean now. It feels good on my feet because it has a little bit of a non-slip texture to it, but it's subtle. You don't really know that it's non-slip. But it just looks so much better. And all in all, I couldn't be more happier with the way this project turned out. Remember those terrible looking cracks at the ladder? Well, they're all filled in, they're colored now the same as the deck, and it really looks great. Well, you've watched all 3 videos. You've seen how I took this project from start to finish, all of the steps, all of the products. But the one thing that I really owe you now is some additional tips and lessons learned that I picked up doing this project. And there's so many, I've actually had to make a little list here of what I'm going to talk about. But this is not a small project. It really depends on the size of your patio and your pool deck. And my pool deck was quite large, and so it's been a pretty significant project. The project does take time. Just for filling in the cracks on my concrete, it took 3 days because between each layer of the DAP liquid concrete filler, I had to wait 24 hours. So that's kind of time consuming right there. The preparation is all of the work. The power washing, the coming back and scrubbing that down with a cleaner and etcher, that takes a lot of time, but you do not want to cut any corners there because if your surface is not completely clean, you might have a problem with chipping and peeling later down the road. I had mentioned that the clean and etch product didn't seem to be doing anything, and it didn't. I put it down and I would scrub with it. Occasionally I'd get some bubbles, but I stuck with it and I just hope it did the job. On the paint, it is so thick that just stirring it with a paint stir doesn't do the trick. When I got down to the halfway point on the first can, I looked inside, and along the entire inside of the can was about a 1/4 inch layer of the grit of the particles that actually provide the non-slip. So I had to scrape that down and remix the paint. So what I did after that was I used 2 cans to mix the paint. As you can see here, pour the paint back and forth and you can mix it up good. And I think that's the best way to go. The paint is thick, and if you're at Home Depot and they put it on their machine to mix it up, that's not going to be enough. I did use a shop vac to vacuum the deck before I put the primer down, and that worked out real well. But you have to be real careful. Anytime you're using an extension cord around a pool, that's always a chance for an accident, and it happened to me. A definite safety hazard and lesson learned for me is never let your extension cord drop into the edge of the pool. It didn't cause any damage, but it did trip the breaker. I had to reset that and had to dry out the plug-in. I think you saw in the video that it was kind of hard getting the paint down into the porous openings in the concrete. In some places I had to go back with some touch-up or a second coat. So that's something to keep in mind right there. Well, I still have a little work left to do to finish up this project, but I have to say that this has been one of the most rewarding home projects I've done in a long, long time because it's made such a significant difference in the appearance of my pool. So I encourage you to get out there and try it yourself. If this is something that's been bugging you over the years, just go ahead and do your research, get into it, and you can do it. So I want to thank you for watching my videos. This has been 3 videos, and I've got links down in the comments below so you can pick up the videos that maybe you haven't seen. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and go ahead and click that little bell and you'll get notifications of any of my future videos. I appreciate all my viewers. I really appreciate my subscribers. So until next time, stay safe and thanks for watching.